Continue looking at the headlines and very interesting tweets. Wow. Honorable Samatandi, I think you've found newfound fame. Creating some ruckus on Twitter every Friday. Yeah, now I want to move away from issues of Governor Okoth Obado. Of course, that is a continuing discussion and we'll continue following it throughout. Incidentally, ODM has warned against being dragged into the governor's wars.
Yes.
Why is that? He's still a member of your party. He has not been convicted yet. Why would ODM find it necessary to distance itself from him?
There's been conversations on the ground to the effect that ODM is responsible for the predicament facing the governor. And I think it is very clear this is a criminal offense. The offense was not sponsored by ODM. So ODM is saying that please do not drag our name into the issues. Okay. We have said that the governor is innocent until proven guilty. And remember, there's a by-election in the constituency, and it's being used to say that ODM is responsible, and therefore our candidate should not be given. So we are saying that this is a criminal offense, and ODM believes that the justice system is going to pronounce justice for the governor and also for the victims. You know, all these are members of our party, and we want justice for everybody. Okay. So this is very clear, and the statement by our Secretary General is very forthright that we want the justice system to run. And it does not use it for politics.
It should be noted that yes, there's a by-election, a senatorial by-election to be held on the 8th of October in Migori County, and coincidentally it's the same date when Governor Okoth Obado of that county will be going back to court for another bail hearing. That means he will not be available for that. He will not get to cast his vote in that by-election. Let's move on now to issues to do with politics. Secret NASA pact reveals how parties were to share power, why Raila can still run for top seat again. Now, this question of whether or not Raila Odinga should run for president, and it's captured there on the front page of the Daily Nation on the top strip, why Raila may vie in 22. As it turns out, there's a clause in the 2017 NASA power sharing agreement which gives opposition leader Raila Odinga a free hand to run for president again in 2022 if the pact is not renewed. Yeah? If he runs the 2022 stub, it will be his 5th attempt. Now, apparently, in the event of the renewal of the coalition agreement for a further term of 5 years, the coalition's presidential candidate in the August 2017 election shall not be eligible for nomination as a presidential candidate. That is the agreement, that is the article they're saying. Yes. So are we saying that this agreement has not been renewed, the agreement between Wiper, ODM, Amani, National Congress, Ford Kenya, because we do have a senior official of Wiper and the deputy party leader, ANC. What is the fate of that agreement? Is it something that is set to be renewed now that we're hearing a lot of stories about Ford Kenya and ANC going a certain way? Chama cha Mashinani already bolted out. What is Wiper's position? And is there a possibility that the NASA agreement could be revived?
Well, first and foremost, I want to believe that Raila Odinga, the Honorable Raila Odinga, is a very, smart person when it comes into politics. He knows what best to do when it comes to politics. Agreements can be kept, agreements can be breached, and as soon as that happens, there will be rearrangements. But so far now, we have never changed the agreement of NASA, and that's why NASA is still a coalition, even in Parliament. And if you are to change it now, it means you will affect a few things, including what is happening in Parliament. We are still the official opposition in the country, and the NASA is still, held together by its agreement and by the registration to the registrar of political parties. That pact still remains there.
But kindly clarify this article, because if at all you're talking about renewal of the agreement, does it mean that there was an expiry date for the agreement that exists, or because they're talking about a renewal for further 5 years, does it mean that that agreement that was there has an expiry date?
If you have to renew it, it means you have discarded the original agreement. And it means the parties who made the original agreements have to come together and say now we are renewing and we are changing the status. That would be the interpretation. But as far as I'm concerned, so far, that has not happened. The makers of the original agreement have not come together, disagreeing on it or changed on it. But I can assure you, the Honorable Raila Odinga is a smart politician. He wants the best for Kenyans. That's why he went for the handshake. He knows what to do in 2022. He's free as a Kenyan, whether there is an agreement or not. He's free even to breach an agreement or to lobby for his renewal. There are many options in politics.
It may look like a very simple statement, but Raila Odinga running for president come 2022 is big politics, either way you look at it, yes, whichever way you decide to look at it. But the question is, and I don't think I've gotten the clarification from you, is because this one anticipates a renewal of this agreement. Does it mean that the other agreement was to come to an end at some point, therefore necessitating a need for a renewal?
No. What I understand as a member of the coordinating committee and informed by my party leader's position is that NASA is still living on the agreement that we did last year. And therefore renewal will only come in if there is some kind of divergence from the current situation. And inbuilt in that agreement is that unless 3 members in writing to the registrar of political parties say they are moved out of NASA, NASA still remain a vessel. And therefore, unless the 3 other parties move out of NASA, we are going to be in the same NASA until the next election.
But it means that this agreement, therefore, could actually cause problems. Because unless you renew that agreement, it means that he is still eligible to vie, because it says in the event of the renewal of the agreement, then the presidential candidate for August 2017 election shall not be eligible.
You know, Fred, Raila is a big animal when it comes to the political landscape of Kenya. And therefore, there are many spin doctors who would want to unrattle us any other day, because Raila is perfectly within his right either to run or not to run and support another political arrangement. But people want to cast this doubt that Raila may not be a political entity in the next election. But renewal of the agreement is really not in question. If there was a by-election tomorrow, the agreement that we have is that he's going to run. But if at the end of the 5 years, the understanding at that time is that we are going to win, and upon winning is going to serve as one-term president.
Okay.
That was our understanding.
And it's rather clear that the two of you are not very comfortable discussing this issue.
No.
Because the parties have not really come out. I know, for example, your party leader has said on various occasions that it should be his time now on the ballot. Do you feel uneasy discussing whether or not Raila Odinga should run?
I can assure you, I've even asked this question personally to the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, and his answer was, you cannot do things the same way, same style, and expect different results. So to me, he's an open-minded man when it comes to this. And in fact, when I had a discussion with him, which was actually yesterday morning, he tells me that he is, you know, by his status now, and from what he has done for Kenya, he wants to leave a more united Kenya. And that tells you that he's going to be a big factor in the 2022 elections in whichever way. And the fact that he wants to leave a better Kenya, he also wants to show that he can keep his word. But you know, as you have said, in politics, a lot of people are worried what he's going to do. And therefore, they want to probe him. So that now he may go against the agreement, he may rattle NASA. I don't think he's going to do that. And trust me, from the handshake, I believe from now onwards, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga wants the best for Kenyans.
Yes, but ANC and Ford Kenya have been in talks
you know,
in as far as forging a different...
They have been in talks with NASA.
You know, you see, this is the irony of the Luhya nation. Because Ford Kenya and ANC are national parties. They may not have the stature of ODM or Jubilee, but still, they still got constituencies away from the bedrock of their support, which is Western Kenya. And our discussion between Ford Kenya and ANC is for us to create some synergy. We lost some seats because we are fielding against each other, even in areas where we would have won easily, including the seat of Senator Trans Nzoia. You put my votes and that of Ndiema together, we beat Jubilee by more than 40,000 votes. Now, what we did, we split the votes, we lost. And therefore we are saying, let us learn from the mistakes of the past. But it doesn't mean we want to exclude ourselves to a corner in Western Kenya. We want to improve our synergy, go to other nationals and engage them on constructive dialogue towards ensuring that we have a political entity that will capture power come 2022.
Okay. Honorable Latandi, you've listened to what Honorable Manzo has just said, and you've quoted the Right Honorable Raila Odinga saying that you cannot do the same thing, same way, and expect different results, meaning that the game is changing. And probably Raila Odinga running for president come 2022 is not necessarily the game. And this was brought out by a different headline, and I've seen this on Citizen TV as well, where a call for a referendum, and this is probably where this reintroduction of the possibility of a referendum to probably even change the system of government comes in. Leaders across the political divide have opposed the push for a referendum, terming it a selfish move driven by greed. And these were leaders who had accompanied the deputy president on a 5-day trip to Tana River, Kilifi, Kwale, Mombasa, and Taita Taveta counties. Do you think that this is the bigger story as opposed to the headline of the possibility of Raila Odinga running for president in 2022?
Fred, I agree with you. You couldn't have put it better. This headline, Raila may vie in 2022, is one of those things that portray the media as an object of use to achieve narrow, selfish political ends. Because this is sponsored headline, you know. Where we are as a country, we really cannot be talking about who is going to run in 2022. We are talking about how the country can be reorganized, how the country can meet its promises to the people of Kenya. And you know that His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga has been strategic in the way he wants the country to be properly organized. Right now, the conversion on referendum is genuine because even when we are going through the finance bill and the budget, we are saying that the size of government, government and offices is so huge that we are even unable to fund them, you know. So we really need to have these conversations, genuine conversations of reducing legislature, reducing representation, and these are things that can only be done through a referendum.
Changing the structure of government.
Yes. So the conversion referendum is genuine, and we want Kenya to support it. We don't want to use it for politics. I saw the MPs who accompanied William Ruto to Tana River were opposed to it because they are narrow, and they want to play to the gallery because they think that if the constitution is amended, then possibly Ruto will not be the president of Kenya. This is hogwash. You know, we need leaders who will look at issues squarely and address them. The truth of the matter is that right now, the best thing that we need to do for inclusion purposes, for managing the cost of running the government and offices, we must remove some of these people, some of these offices.
Change the system.
And even reduce the number of constituencies. We have 290 constituencies for what? Because some MPs have been elected have come to parliament with 10,000 votes.
What do you say to the fact that
3,000 votes? So we need some of these things to be done away with. And this
Daily Nation, the discussion about the NASA Pact that was the possibility of Raila Odinga running again, the fact that Orange Party had even agreed to share a vote cash with coalition partners has gotten so much coverage, 2 pages in total, just discussing what would have been and the possibility of Raila running for president. Yet, this discussion about the referendum is a very small column. And probably, as Honorable Latandi says, this is a bigger discussion.
Yes, I can assure you that a referendum is necessary in Kenya. And in fact, the truth of the matter is Kenyans need to go back to the Bomas draft. We had 2 drafts. We chose one. We have seen the results. We have tested for some time. You need a country which is united, and that can only be achieved through a constitutional change. We need to take stock of the new constitution so far. What are the gains? What are the benefits for Kenyans? We need Kenyans to be free. These people scared of the referendum want to hold some Kenyans at ransom. You have heard the argument of political debts. Every Kenyan should be free to vote for whoever they want to vote for, without being held up at ransom or without being twisted, without being taken round in circles without being tied down to a political party, such that any Kenyans who want to form a new political party, which can even form a new government, can do so. And this can best be achieved if we go back to Boban's draft, and this can only be done through a referendum. That is what will define Kenya better. And it will look at the whole government structure again, we look at the executive, we look at parliament, we look at judiciary, and make sure that now we have a more cost-effective government. What we have now is more money going into salaries and into government structures other than into development. And that's why you found even President Uhuru Kenyatta had a challenge. When it came to implementing the budget, it had a hole, and it needs to be filled. And if you check, there's very little money really even in the counties. Whatever is going to counties is not really going into development. So we must relook at the whole government structure again. This can only happen through a referendum. Okay. So they are scared of a referendum. I know these members of parliament scared of a referendum. The so-called Tanga team. Yes. It should now come to them that a referendum is necessary in this country. I know it will scare them. They have already planned. They are trying to do politics in a certain manner, but that will be ruffled by a referendum. There are people who would prefer the discussion to be based on whether or not Raila Odinga will run for president come 2022, and what kind of arrangement NASA would have. Do you see that as a diversionary from the main discussion?
Yeah, indeed it is diversionary, and it has become very easy when you blame everything on Raila. Even when there is drought, you say there's drought because Raila took away the rain. And this is something that I think we need to move away and disabuse ourselves of that notion that an individual is the main focus instead of institutions. The way my colleagues have said is that we need to relook at the constitution, do an audit, make sure that we get a constitution that reflects the wishes of Kenyans, at the same time a constitution that is affordable. The only thing I may disagree with them is the issue of the cost of this constitution. If you are to look at all the MPs' salaries, all the MCA salaries, it's not equal to half the money that we waste every year. So what we need to do is to focus on areas of wastage. And because even some of the positions of MCA were reduced, like for example Charangani, where I come from, there were 10 positions of MCAs. Now we have about 6. This therefore means that there was a bit of reduction. What we need to do is to ask ourselves, are we going to address the issues of equity? Are we going to address the issues of national unity? Are we going to address also the need for effective delivery of services? Given the fact that even today, there is duplication of roles, where you find there is a county commissioner and there is a governor. There is a sub-county person and there is somebody appointed by the governor, all the way to a location. Now, why do we have that duplication? Why don't we employ people who can be part of the police, but they also run the administration of justice within the county? So that we do not have to have a county commissioner who is duplicating a role that a governor should be doing, or a police commissioner should be, a county commissioner should be doing in that area.
Okay. Fred. And just before I wrap up this news review, and I'll give each one of you a moment to make your final remarks, I had asked a question on whether or not VIPs should enjoy a better treatment in remand. We have quite a number of answers, and this is one of them via text. We have a court system. We have a prison and remand system. The governor is strongly tied to a brutal murder, not scantily related. He is an influential character who can alter course of investigation. Allow him to spend more time at remand prison to allow for conclusive investigation. This is not necessarily the question we asked. We asked whether or not they should receive better treatment. And I can read here, Daybreak, ati treated better. Unajua Kenyan leaders are just not naturally born leaders. They are greedy, among the highest paid in the world. And some of the words probably are not, I can't even go there. We have another text. I agree with Mheshimiwa Atandi. Just take a case scenario of Baba being in the same cell with other inmates. It can lead to a very serious mass action that the state cannot manage. Let our leaders be treated with a lot of decorum in or outside police custody. The judiciary should equally respect our constitution. One is presumed innocent until proven guilty. It was unfair to deny Mr. Obado bail for all offenses available. Omuga from Huruma says, good morning, Fred. It is clear that anybody with a case in court, whether criminal or civil, and those with queries of mismanaging public offices should step aside. These leaders in elected positions have really abused our integrity. Another one, Eunice from Kiamumbi, she says he should be where others are. A VIP should set a good example in these matters. He has failed in so many ways. No one is above the law. Those in remand are human, just like him. Treatment should be equal. I can read one here from this iPad, and it says, a criminal is criminal, no special criminal. And Gerishon Ndegwa from Nairobi says, all citizens are the same under the Constitution. What your panelist is alluding to shows the kind of crop of legislators we have. Unfortunately, we are watching them keenly. Honorable Samatandi. Well, I'm sure that is that you make your final comments.
Yes. Let me say that I have strong arguments for saying that the governor or a VIP should be put in a situation, in a condition that allows him to live and to face justice. Not in a situation where, like my colleague said, somebody would be sodomized, you know. We want some of these high-profile cases to be concluded. You know, especially this one. You know, murder cases in Kenya have not been successfully prosecuted and concluded. So we want this one to be an example where a governor was successfully prosecuted and possibly imprisoned. Two, I have been agonizing about the stories I hear in counties about corruption, about how counties are wasting resources which are meant to serve the poor people. And I want to plead with the EACC and all these people who are involved in prosecuting corruption that please go to counties and help us to stem these issues of corruption in counties. You hear cases where a road which is supposed to be built using, for example, 5 million, a budget of 10 million was used on that road. And if you walk in those roads, if you drive in those roads, they're not really properly done. We want the EACC to be serious. We gave them good resources in the budget. We have also funded DPP properly. The courts are now, we also met the budgetary issues of the court, and we want to see corruption cases prosecuted. What I have seen are a few political cases, people being arraigned in court. We want to get these people who are looting our resources in the county. Can we get them to be arraigned in court and charged? Okay. Thank you.
Final comments?
Yes, first and foremost, I want to observe that all Kenyans are equal before the law. It doesn't matter who. Even a president after service can still be subjected to the law if there's something he committed. The only reason he's kept above the law is to avoid disruption while he's serving, while he's in office. And therefore, you know what we should do to our prisons, because I've visited them there and I've had clients who are in prisons. We should make our prisons, you know, not dehumanizing. They should be, you know, at a level whereby any human being who goes there, their constitutional rights are not breached by the fact that they're in custody or they're in prison. And also, we have a big problem with our constitution, and that's why a referendum is important. The interpretation now is that there's no death sentence. So people they don't care to loot the nation because they know they will not be taken anywhere. And you know, when you loot a nation, you kill a nation. And again, also, people now don't care to murder because they know they will still go to prison anyway and you know, spend the rest of their lives there, or they have a chance of getting away with it. So we need to be a little serious, and that's why a referendum is important, so that we can reintroduce properly the death sentence, so that, you know, when you kill someone, you are likely to lose your own life. And when you commit corruption, I think we should now do it just like some of other nations. Make sure that whoever is corrupt or is guilty of stealing Kenyan monies, other than returning the money, that person should be sentenced to death.
Wow.
Well, this morning as I came to the studio, I was thrilled to realize that most of the counties will dispense with the pending bills before they do anything, any new project. I do hope also the central government is going to ensure that pending bills are cleared, because what is happening is stifling the economic growth of Kenya. And if all the monies owed by contractors, suppliers of goods and services, even suppliers of maize are cleared, we'll be going back to work. And that is what we admire, and that is what we should aspire for.
Wow. Incidentally, I've seen the price of maize because of the ongoing investigations and the fact that NCPB is no longer buying maize. Maize farmers in the North Rift have now been forced to sell their maize at a throwaway price, 900 shillings per 90-kilogram bag, which usually goes for about 3,200 shillings. That's the situation. Well, just before I finish up, 2 text messages here. Fred, come on, stop being difficult. We are VIP even at the airport. Why not in remand? Obado's case is high profile, and so he should be isolated. Every prisoner knows him, and thus endangers him. It makes sense. That is just one person. The other one says, you are kidding me, Fred. A kirimino is a kirimino. No VIP kirimino and common mwananchi. Let them all use the bucket and smell how the kirimino sense smells. Wow. That is the news review. A lot of feedback on text and on Twitter. Thank you so much for watching.